Has the president issued any kind of warning to Russia or even China not to involve itself if the U.S. decides to strike Iran?
I wouldn't reveal the president's private conversations.
Why a strike might be necessary on a nuclear program, he says, was obliterated by the last U.S. strike. Does the administration believe it's important to sort of convince the American people, sell the American people, might be necessary to risk American lives?
Is President Trump coordinating war plans with Israel so that if he does decide to strike, that Israel will be a part of those strikes?
The United States and Iran have already held the second round of talks over Tehran's nuclear program in Geneva. But amid the negotiations, a massive military buildup from the Iranian side is raising concerns. On February 18th, the Russian corvette Stoikiy arrived at the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas as Tehran and Moscow set to conduct naval drills near the U.S. Armada, USS Abraham Lincoln. The naval maneuvers signal growing military cooperation between Iran and Russia at a crucial time, when Trump's tough guys, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, are in Geneva to ease tensions between the U.S. and Iran and reach a favorable deal. As the Iranian buildup continues to grow, on February 18th, during a regular White House press briefing, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt was asked for Trump's reaction to the planned Russian-Iranian naval exercises, and whether Trump had asked Russia and China to stay away if the U.S. decides to strike Iran. During the whole press conference, journalists bombarded Leavitt with questions about the ongoing U.S.-Iran tensions.
Caroline, Russia is reportedly joining Iran for joint naval exercises in the Gulf of Oman this week. Has the president issued any kind of warning to Russia or even China not to involve itself if the U.S. decides to strike Iran?
Not to my knowledge, no, or not that I would dictate from this podium. I wouldn't reveal the president's private conversations with world leaders. With respect to that, again, when it comes to Iran, the president has a decision to make, and he will do that, and I'm not going to broadcast what that decision may be ahead of him.
On Iran, I'm not asking you for like military secrets here, but can you
You
share?
know I would be so unwise.
Unless you want to give them. Can you share a little bit about the president's thinking on whether or not to strike Iran, who he's talking to, what information he's consuming, and why a strike might be necessary on a nuclear program he says was obliterated by the last U.S. strike?
Well, there's many reasons and arguments that one could make for a strike against Iran. The president had a very successful operation as commander-in-chief with Operation Midnight Hammer, as you know, as you just said, totally obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. The president has always been very clear, though, with respect to Iran or any country around the world, diplomacy is always his first option, and Iran would be very wise to make a deal with President Trump and with this administration. He's talking to many people, of course, his national security team, first and foremost, and you know who the members of that team are. And this is something, obviously, the president takes seriously. He's always thinking about what's in the best interest of the United States of America, of our military, of the American people, and that's how he makes decisions with respect to military action of any kind.
And on the flip side of that, he's got the State of the Union speech next week. If he is going to take military action, does the administration believe it's important to sort of convince the American people, sell the American people? Will we hear something about that in the State of the Union to make the case for why something like that might be necessary to risk American lives?
Look, again, I'm not going to engage in a hypothetical. Good try, Garrett, but you can't catch me there. I will say, with respect to the State of the Union, you'll be hearing more about what is to come from the president's speech very soon at the appropriate time.
Is the president seeing enough progress in the Iran talks to let negotiations go a little further? I mean, where do things stand after yesterday's talks?
I think you heard from the administration and the State Department yesterday that there was a little bit of progress made, but we're still very far apart on some issues. I believe the Iranians are expected to come back to us with some more detail in the next couple of weeks, and so the president will continue to watch how this plays out.
I wanted to ask you about Iran. As the U.S. military builds up around Iran, is President Trump coordinating war plans with Israel so that if he does decide to strike, that Israel will be a part of those strikes?
Look, I don't have any specifics on the president's recent conversations with Israel. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu was just here at the White House last week or the week before. But again, with respect to Iran, there was some progress made yesterday. There are still a lot of details to discuss, and we'll continue to see how this plays out. The United States government, of course, is always in close communication and correspondence with the state of Israel, and that starts right at the top with the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu themselves.
Amid the ongoing talks, Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei maintained his tough rhetoric against the United States and openly threatened Trump. For 47 years, the U.S. hasn't been able to eliminate the Islamic Republic, he said, adding, "This time, too, Trump will not succeed."
I am saying that we are free. These people are also martyrs because in the turmoil, the enemy tries to make it seem to them that they are right, so they say it. The President of the United States says that our army is the most powerful army in the world. The strongest army in the world, perhaps to such an extent. Sometimes it gets hit so hard that it can't even get up. They say, we sent a destroyer toward Iran, a very good destroyer. Of course, it is a dangerous device. But even more dangerous than the destroyer is the weapon that can take away the destroyer's power in the heart of the sea. In a series of public statements and formal remarks delivered quite recently to the gathered audience, he took the opportunity to express his thoughts and provide a detailed perspective on the current situation that everyone has been closely monitoring over the past few weeks. He said that he has frequently complained to his own people that for 47 long years, the United States of America has not been able to successfully eliminate the Islamic Republic, 47 long years. That America has not been able to eliminate the Islamic Republic. This is a good admission. I'm not saying you won't be able to do it either. In fact, they say a nation like ours, with this culture, this history, and these high values, will not be brought to its knees by corrupt leaders like those currently in power in America. Negotiations should take place, but honestly, this is not the time for negotiations. If negotiations are to happen, deciding the outcome in advance is a wrong and foolish thing to do. You say, let's talk and reach an agreement on the formula. So why are you determining the result beforehand? We absolutely must reach this agreement. It's foolish, and this is exactly the kind of thinking that comes from the Basij, the IRGC, and people like that.